Hey, 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 it's never late. It's always right on time. And where are you? You are in the Wellness for the Busy Women in Business room here today with myself, Camille Jones, and the awesome Mary Massey. We are super excited to be coming to you all today with a great discussion. Actually, I would call it a hot topic, a hot spreading topic that's happening that we're seeing all on the social platforms. Hey, you've probably even gotten an invite. So first and foremost, if you're tuning in, we'd love to hear where you are tuning in from. Definitely just put in the chat where you all are tuning in, and we're gonna get this conversation going and rolling. Let's do this. My name is Camille Jones, and let's get this going. So passing the mic over to you, Mary.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wellness for the Busy Woman in Business. We're excited to have you here today. So make sure that you have a notepad to write down any questions that you have, because today's topic is all about the new app Threads. I'm in New Jersey. I am a life coach, and I'm also a social media coach. So this is why I believe that we need to tackle this conversation now, because there's so much going on right now and there's a lot of chatter. And a lot of it may not necessarily be for you. So how are you going to implement this new tool in your business without getting yourself frustrated and overwhelmed? Because we do enough of that already on social media, or at least when I talk to my clients, that's kind of like the thing. They're afraid of technology. They're already overwhelmed. And to learn something new can be a little bit overwhelming and stressful. So yeah, excited to get into it. Camille, have you been using Threads?
I sure have. I have. Hey, ladies. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Dr. Constance. Hey, Jules. Just wanted to give out shout outs and say thank you for engaging in the comments. We heavily encourage the engagement in the comments, because even though you may not be on camera, we take every note, and your comments allow us to continue on with this discussion. And also, if you have any questions on what we're doing, or even a comment, this is the time for you to shine. Also, the more you do comment in these sections, the more visibility you're getting for your own profile, because everyone's gonna be like, ooh, this person, that was a great question. Let me see what this person's all about. So I'm super excited for this conversation, because just as Mary said, this is a hot topic. This is very new to a lot of people. And I love why we do this is because Mary is definitely way more seasoned in the social media game than I am. So it's great to have two diverse perspectives of these new platforms, or anything that is coming towards us socially. You're getting the person that's learning, and the person that is able to, as soon as they get it, it's like, oh, it all relates to something else, in terms of past social media platforms. Or there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes in social media platforms that we may have never even gotten to take advantage of, because that platform has already axed that idea, right? So we don't even know about it. But then there's people like Mary that even learn research on those other types of things that we may not know what's going on in the back end. And then when these new platforms or apps or any of these programs are launched, she already is one step ahead of the game. And we were like, you know what? This is a great opportunity for us to really get both sides of the spectrum, so that we can come into center and not feel as overwhelmed. Because I'm that kind of person that's like, girl, I just learned how to use my Instagram properly. Now you're throwing in a Threads. I don't even know how to use Snapchat or TikTok. Oh my goodness. And what happens, Mary, when a lot of people feel overwhelmed? What do they end up doing?
They get analysis paralysis. They don't post. But one thing I have to say is that this is a very simple app to use. For those of you who are not familiar, a while back, there was an app called Threads that Instagram put out, and it was for direct messaging. So aside from being able to DM people on the app on Instagram, you could also have this app called Threads to direct message people. So, but now this version, it's called the Threads app. It is actually very similar to Twitter. So if you're familiar with Twitter, Twitter's been around forever. A lot of people know about it. And what they're saying is that this app could potentially replace it. Now, here's the deal, though. We are 5 days into this app, 5 days only. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this ASAP was because there are so many people right now talking about it, so many marketing gurus,
Mm.
so many people that put out all of this information that may not necessarily be the best information for you, charging a lot of money to do it. I mean, come on, people get taken advantage of all the time, and they're calling themselves experts.
Mhm.
How are you going to be an expert at something that just came out, something that just launched, something that they didn't even have access to? Because when I joined the app, I joined at about 500,000. I was the 500,000th person to join the app. And it had already been out. It had already been tested by Gary Vee, by a bunch of other different people, big people, Alex Hormozy, people in the industry who are dominating social media, who are dominating marketing. And these people are already experts in what they're doing. And they've had access to the app for 2 weeks. Now imagine.
Wow.
Okay. And now you have all of these other people, all of these wannabe marketers and social media experts coming onto the app. 1 to 2 days in, they're already trying to sell you something. They're giving you all the tips on how to grow. So Camille, this is the thing that I've noticed. So you might want to turn, do you have your notifications?
Yeah,
That was
I've seen
out.
those.
My ear. There goes my ear.
I love your ears.
So, my gosh. No, but it's okay. So what I was saying is that a lot of these people who have had followings on Instagram, of course, if you have 1 million followers on Instagram and you say, hey, I just set up my Threads account, even if you get 10% of those people following you on the Threads app, all of a sudden your account is going to skyrocket. So as somebody who might be new, who might be trying to build a business on Instagram, who is now on the Threads app, you might be saying, oh, wow, I just came on the Threads app and I have maybe, 50 followers or 60 followers. And how am I going to grow? And then you see all these people saying, I grew by 1,000 people on the first day or whatever. And they don't realize that, hey, they already have their following. Their following followed them to the new app. So just bear that in mind, that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot to learn still. Even Mosseri, who is, the second person who joined Threads, actually, he's right under Zuckerberg. Okay, he's always communicating and saying, this is what we're going to be rolling out. This is what we're going to be working on. What do you think of this feature? What features would you like to see? It is so new. So because it's so new, it's a great opportunity for you to start a new conversation, to go into a new place and just be yourself. You can create whatever persona you want. So I'll leave it at that for now. I want to see if anybody has any questions. If you have already set up your Threads app, what do you think of it? Is this something that you might want to explore? Do you feel a little bit overwhelmed about all of it? Are you like, oh man, one more app? But I really want to go over why it is that you should be using it and how it can benefit you and how you can do it without getting yourself all crazy about it.
Now, I have a few questions. This is great. And it's going to segue into another topic on the Threads that is definitely something that we want to start incorporating right out the gates of being on this app. And I'll get to that right after some points that you did touch on, which I think are, not even think, they are phenomenal, especially for, again, individuals like myself who do sometimes feel intimidated on these new platforms. I loved the fact that you right out the gate said this is 5 days old, and we are already seeing people that are trying to monetize on something that is still in test mode per se, right? It's still somewhat, they still have their study groups happening behind the scenes. So to be an expert on something that's still being studied, it makes you, it helps us better navigate through the BS, I should say.
Yes.
And not even the BS. I'm going to take that back. It helps us navigate or put on our sunglasses from the shiny coin, because I've been guilty of that, thinking that I need to jump onto the bandwagon of what this person is selling because I was feeling left behind. But when an app is 5 days old and even the top executives are still getting to know it, this is a time for us to really, what I want to talk about after, what you also touched upon just before your ending, is the power of authenticity on this app. This is a great opportunity for us to be authentic on it. And before we touch on that, because I'd love for you to talk about how we can really amplify that beautiful authenticity in this app without following the real trends and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? We're going to get to that. But I also loved the fact that you really opened up opened up my knowledge on just the follower count. we are so programmed to automatically look at that follower number or those likes or that engagement that we're not even looking at the science or the algorithm behind
Mhm.
the scenes. So I love that you mentioned that when we sign up with Threads, it is in relation to our into our Instagram. So if we do have a large following, I'm just repeating it again because a lot of people don't know this.
Mhm. Mhm.
The apps work together in unison. So if you have a large following on Instagram, just like Mary said, even if you get 10% of that large following, you're going to have a lot more than somebody who doesn't have, even 500 on their Instagram. So I love that you said that because, that's a great selling point for some of these people to stay in their market.
Yeah.
Hey, I can show you how I got 10,000 in
Mhm.
without
And
saying, hey. So I love that you talked about that. But Mary, I want to go to that whole talk on using Threads for authenticity. Because
yeah.
and hey, Charmaine, and please, everyone that's in the chat, let's if you have any questions, put it in the chat here. This is a great time. This is a raw, open conversation. And Mary, should we be putting in our handles? Is this a kind of an app where we should be like follow for follow? And
No, that's one thing I really want to talk about because when you first join Threads, so this is what happened. I follow Gary Vee. I'm in his broadcast channel. I follow Mosseri. I'm in his broadcast channel. I follow Zuckerberg. So these are the top people that are always going to give out the information first because, you know, Zuckerberg and Mosseri, they work together. They're Instagram. They are Instagram. They
yes,
are Meta. So whatever information they put out, I get it firsthand as they're putting it out. So then, of course, just like I get it, a bunch of other marketers get the information, and then boom, they run to YouTube. They start to do all the things, right? And so what happened was they announced that the Threads app was going to be released. He sent the link to the broadcast channel. I went to download the app, but it wasn't available yet. So when you have your iPhone in the App Store, you can tap to get the app, and it said, we will notify you when it's available to download. So I believe I was in the middle of Mom Link Business when I got the notification from the App Store that it was ready to download. And I was like, okay, download now. So boom, downloaded it right away. And when you set up your account, you have the option of importing your information from your Instagram profile. So it'll import automatically your photo, your bio, your headline. If you have a verified profile like I do, you cannot change it. So you would have to change it through the Meta verification first in order to be able to change it on Instagram and then on Threads. So bear that in mind. So if you are Meta verified, you're not going to be able to change your profile. However, you can change your link. The link can be changed. Now, it also will give you the option, okay, and here's the thing, to follow everyone that you are following on Instagram. So what happens there is if you are following everybody that is following you, or if you are following everybody that is following you on Instagram, for example, it's going to send them a notification. And what that's going to do is, of course, boom, your follower account is going to blow up.
yeah.
I didn't do that. I didn't follow anyone. I handpicked the people that I wanted to follow because eventually what's going to happen with this app, it's going to curate your feed based on what you are following, based on your interests. So I'm not the type of person, for example, if everybody posts their LinkedIn link or their Instagram link, I don't go randomly clicking and following people because that affects the algorithm, that affects what I get to see. And when this came around, I was like, this is a great opportunity to keep it clean, to make sure that I'm getting exactly what I need. And the cool thing, though, about this is that everybody was visible. So here I am, new person on Threads. I'm following the people that I like, but it already gave you a timeline. So it's giving you a feed already of all these different people that you're not following. So it was a great opportunity for me to make connections with new people. I'm like, okay, wow, I like what this person said. Let me look at them. Let me look at their profile. And then I decided to follow certain people. And as I am building my stuff, as I'm sharing, people are following me. I'm not following them back. So just bear that in mind. When it comes to social media, you do not have to follow everybody who follows you. Don't go on those follow for follow trains because what are you getting out of that? Are you really going to make a genuine connection with that person? So just be mindful of that as you start with this new app.
That is huge because we again are so programmed for that follow for follow, and we're forgetting about what's happening behind the scenes of these social platforms.
Mhm.
And you're very correct that when you are following a certain amount of people that are not even in your niche or niche or however you say it, yeah, I'm Canadian.
Yeah. You said
uh,
it perfectly.
yeah, so you say niche.
Yeah, niche, right?
Oh,
Niche. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, honestly, Clubhouse opened up my eyes to different same words, different way that we say it. But that was great that you mentioned about the whole follow for follow thing, because we're so programmed to feel that we need to have this high followers number
Mhm.
before we can really feel like as if we are even being seen. But when we do that on these social platforms, you're very correct. The algorithm is watching who you're following, and they're
Mhm.
going to spit out what they think is that common interest of you. And then what are you doing? You're having a feed full of babies,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah, it makes no sense. And there's more than one algorithm. So when people talk about the algorithm, there's a lot. So there's a set there's massive strings of code
Mm,
that analyze what it is that you are doing, how you interact in stories, for example. That's its own algorithm. How are you interacting? Which people are you looking at? Which is why when you open your Instagram, it's going to show you your top 5 people that you always watch their stories. And then there's the algorithm also for the feed. What are you looking for to read the captions? How long do you stay on the page? So if you're looking at your Instagram feed and all of a sudden you stop the scroll and you're like, okay, all of these little things matter. So if you end up, for example, like I have a VA, I don't know how this got on my Instagram feed, but now I see on my Explorer feed all of these like funny things that go on and like people falling off bikes. And I'm like, I never, looked at that stuff. So all of a sudden it's there. Another thing too that I keep seeing are like shirtless guys with their jean shorts, working out. I'm like,
mm,
when have I ever? Right. So now I see all of these things popping up, and it's based on what people are looking for. So if I have my VA looking for certain hashtags and things pop up and she clicks to see, I'm like, okay, now I'm seeing it too. So this is why you have to be mindful too of how, you can have a personal account to look at whatever you want and keep it private. But when it comes to your business account, like you have to be a lot more intentional with that.
So I have two questions from both. One is for, well, they're not questions, but they are questions. So Danette, I put up here. She said she's cleaning her Threads account up now. Great tips. You're welcome, Danette, Miss Strategy Lady. Now, the why I posted this one is this app an app that we can actually go back into and clean up? Or is it something that becomes permanent? Like, sorry, it's still on your feed.
No. You can remove followers. You
Okay.
can remove the people you follow, and you can remove the people that follow you.
And
Also.
then Elizabeth also asked, when it comes to Threads, what is this hashtag? So yeah, I know you were talking about the hashtags and
Yeah.
how they do. Is it the same way on Threads?
No, there's no hashtags currently on Threads.
Mm-hmm.
No hashtags at all. So there's no hashtags right now. They're just testing and seeing. When they launched the app, I believe within 24 hours they had 2 million users already.
Mm-hmm.
2 million, and now they've surpassed 100 million users on the app.
Yeah.
Okay, so the growth is astronomical, and they didn't anticipate this growth so quickly, which is why Instagram has been a little glitchy the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed, that there are sometimes posts that you make. My dog is barking, and it's just been, the posts haven't been showing up. It's super glitchy, and they did talk about that. So I'm going to mute myself for a sec.
Yes, and you know what? This is why it's great to have these conversations, because so many times things are happening behind the scenes, but we don't know this is happening, ladies and gents. And we're like, what am I doing wrong? Let me make some more content. Maybe I need to get better lighting. Maybe I need to buy this. I got to go to this program. When in actuality, there's things happening in the back scene, because you're very right. I was like, how the last few reels that I posted, they're not being pushed out as much. And then I also started looking into Threads, and I was like, right? But it's only because I have amazing women in my community that, spark that light bulb. And you see, I could say this too. This is why I love my partnership here with Mary, is because I got in the middle of the night, hey, jump on Threads. But I was still sleeping. I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about. And I went to bed. And I woke up, and then it went from 500,000. Literally, I missed the bus of being under the million. Mary tried to throw me on the bus, and I went under the bus. But this is what I love about our community is that she's not gatekeeping. She's not trying to be that, you know, person that's getting all of the juice and the gas and everything just to go and sell it to somebody a week later. No. So I appreciate that, because when I woke up, I'm not BSing you all. She messaged me at probably about 10:30 at night, and I saw it and I was just like, I don't know what Threads is right now. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night. Fell asleep. When I woke up, Threads was at 10 million followers. And what did you say you started at 500,000?
Yeah, I was like 500 and something thousand. And yeah, it's so funny because I have my Zumba with Mary account. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to pay as much attention to that. And then when I went to activate that account, it's like way over. I'm like, okay, that's a long number. So, and I posted it in my stories. Yet also, I was like, yay, I made it under 1 million. You know, I made it. So I posted that Zuckerberg was 1, Mosseri was 2,
Yes,
and
yes.
here's Mary Massey, you know, like 500 something thousand. But just to answer Danette, here's the thing with hashtags. Instagram even has moved away from using hashtags, right? So we have to, like, I still see people posting their, you know, making their reels and all that, posting and all of these hashtags. Doesn't matter. You know why? Because the app itself is working kind of like a search engine. So what does that mean is that now when you make your post, you have to make sure that your captions are very rich in keywords relating to the video. This is also why sometimes they encourage you to edit the videos within the app so that you use the captions, the captions feature for your video within the Instagram app, because all of that information is read by Instagram. So just bear that in mind. And right now, as far as Threads, they're not saying that they're going to be implementing hashtags like they do on Twitter. And I think that they're trying to also make sure that they keep it a positive place, a safe place, free of crazy, you know, political stuff and all of that. And also the bots, because now, like anything else, you know, you have something that could be used for good, and then all of a sudden the evildoers come, and now they're creating apps and AI bots to pop in there and search. Yes. So so it's been great. So yeah, definitely pop in your questions and your comments and let us know what it is that you think, if this is something that you might want to consider. So we've been talking a little bit about kind of like the background information on Threads. So Camille, when you're ready, we can dive into strategy and all that.
I would like to do one real case scenario with you, or we dive into, because there's so much about authenticity that I really want us to really talk about. But I wanted to, just because you touched on something that just triggered. And hey, Schneidine, thank you so much for coming. This is a great conversation. Definitely. Well, the same way your money matters, we got to make sure that we have our social media platforms and working well, so it matters, so we can still progress. And you did say something that I wanted to touch on really quickly with a brief case study, and then I want to go into the whole part of the authenticity of the Threads. So the case study I'm going to ask you is my own, and what you were just saying there, and with authenticity. So when Camille came on this, I was like, oh, sweet. I'm just going to repurpose everything that I did on my Instagram and on my other stuff. I'll just take off the watermark. Easy peasy, beautiful cover girl. I'm done. And then I also was, writing essays the same way you do on LinkedIn. And what it was, and then when Mary saw it, Mary's like, oh, no, honey child. The thing about Threads and what's going to make it unique is what you were just saying there about it being more personable, it having relationships. It's not there for the spamming or the political opinions. It's more of a personal opinion. So I wanted to ask you really quickly is, how have you noticed the algorithm with trends and what we're posting, how it's being pushed out? Does the authenticity and being genuine and new really matter on this app, or can we still repurpose? We can go and start talking about the latest headline on TV. Are those things that we want to come up, like, to really stay out of? And then let's get into the real meat of this. But I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Great questions, Camille, because one thing that excited me about Threads is the fact that we can post links. And as you know, we can't do that on Instagram. If you write your caption and you pop a link in there, it's not clickable. It's not tappable. But
No,
in Threads,
mic
what?
drop. I did not know.
Yeah.
I was right now's age. I love
Hmm.
that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So like Twitter, you can post links on there, you can post photos, you can post videos. But here's the thing that I've noticed a lot is that a lot of the people, even some of the biggest creators,
Mm.
feel so light when it comes to the Threads app because they don't have to create all this crazy content. They don't have to bother themselves with looking polished. You can't even edit the text when you write it. When you post it and you have a typo, you can't even edit your freaking caption. Okay. So I was like, where's the, and I even made a joke about like, okay, where's the edit button? Because a lot of people are like, where's the edit button? Because we're all like, okay, we see a typo. I see a typo on Instagram and I cringe in my stories. I see it. I'm like, oh, I can't edit this, and I cringe. I'm like, I don't want to look like I don't know how to write, but everybody makes mistakes. And it's like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not so bad
Yeah.
because now everybody's feeling a little bit more relaxed about it. And that's where the balance and wellness piece comes in.
Mm.
So as far as repurposing your content, there are plenty of people that I've seen like, okay, I just scroll past the pictures. They'll say, I'll scroll past the videos
Mhm.
because they want to read. They want those one-liners. They want maybe like little paragraphs. They want to know who you are. They want to know what makes you you. So if we have, for example, Gary Vee, who's always posting business advice, now all of a sudden he's posting, good morning this and getting into conversations with people back and forth, and it's been wonderful to see that. And also for us, the quote unquote little people, to pop in and join the conversations
Mm.
and other people reading your responses and then other people saying, oh, well, let me check this person out. So it's the same deal. Now that you're making more genuine connections, now you're a little bit less polished and you're just showing up. And, it's been for me a lot more relaxing to pop in there. And as I'm thinking, I write it and I put it out there. I don't have to worry about who's reading it, who's not reading it. It's me. It's almost like you're micro journaling for yourself and other people have access to it.
Well, that's bottom line. You're being authentic. So my very last question, and then we're going to get right into the wellness and authentic, because again, I'm being the case study. So I want to know. So I did know you did mention, and I do the one-liners or the two sentences, something like, and it's me, just keeping it real. But this time I decided to do a behind the scenes of my hair transition.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And why I did it for so I started with this one right here, and just a little basic thing that said, when workouts are fire, it's time to tame the fro. So I did this one because this is the real life for me. This is behind the scenes. This was halfway done.
Yep.
Meaning I'm a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And then halfway again. And then would you recommend something like this, or is this too much?
You know what, Camille, with that, you're actually telling a story. Okay. And that's what it's about, because I saw that. I'm like, oh, look, Camille posting her photos. And I think I liked your stuff, but it's actually telling a story. And the way that is the engagement that you're getting. So for example, you got 3 replies and 5 likes on that picture, even though you only have 400 followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to notice that I wouldn't make it too photo heavy. But, every once in a while, it's nice to see that. So you're reading text that people are posting. And then before you know it, okay, there's a photo. And it kind of makes you stop and take a look. And it's also a behind the scenes of who you really are. So the thing here is just be yourself and to not stress it too much. And if you're like posting 10 pictures in a row, then, okay, maybe it's time to take a step back and say, okay, maybe I'm overdoing it here. Maybe I, ask a question and go and interact. I have had so much fun interacting on this app with people. I've never done that before. Camille knows I'm not the type to go and you know how I am, right? You know why? Because I'm reading interesting stuff. I'm not reading, oh, tips for this and tips for that, or buy my this or whatever, or, so I'm having conversations with neuroscientists. I'm having conversations with other people in the fitness industry, with people that I'm reconnecting with that I hadn't seen in a long time on Instagram because they're following me from Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really nice to just go back and forth. And that's where the thread is. There's a question, and then you end up having conversations with people who are answering other questions within big accounts. And that's one way that you can get discovered. But I have to say this before we go any further, the app is only 5 days old. 5 days old, and what's working now may not work later. So we have to just continue to go with the flow. And as an early adopter in anything, you're right there, you're learning along, you're growing with the app, you're
Mhm.
growing with the people, you make genuine connections, and that can help you in the long run. So remember, the app is only 5 days old. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is for you to just go and do right away, like, oh, this is what's working right now. No, you
Mhm.
try and you do you. If you want to repurpose your content is salesy, you're not going to get a lot of traction. I'm going to tell you right now, because nobody wants to see that, really. There is a whole strategy behind it. You make the connections first, and then every once in a while you pop in what you're doing. So have the connections first before you begin to share your stuff, because I promise you it's going to fall flat.
I love that. And you know what I love about this too, and what you're saying to us basically, and what we're learning from Threads is people are not only tired of being sold to, they're tired of the picture perfect person, the picture perfect, they're all everything is always great and fun and dandy. Not that we're supposed to write down all of the dismay, but now we're being real. We're not looking at Gary V as just this big, amazing guy. He's also a guy. He's also a man himself. So, I love that we're getting that authenticity from people by keeping it, kiss,
Keep it
keeping it
simple, stupid.
exactly. And then
Yep.
I love that you said that it's not a place where it's like we're going to get people sliding in our DMs, and that really goes to one of the
And there's no DMs. There's no
yes,
DMs.
yes, I love that.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and that goes into one of our topics, our points here is now we're looking at Threads as a strategy when we're just, getting to know people and building up that relationship. Yes, it's only 5 days old, but I know us boss ladies, us women, us, who like to be called CEOs or CEOs and everything else in between, we are ready to and eager to really let the world see our passion and our business. So how could we use authenticity as a business strategy, 5 days out of the gates on this app? I know it's still trial and error. And one thing, Danette, if you made an error, I like this about Threads too. If you do have a typo, hey, you're real. We all make like the typo here and there, but now people are really seeing your authenticity. So it's like,
Yeah, I made a typo and I joked about it, and everybody was like, "Where's the?" And I'm reading all this other stuff, because all the people I'm not even following them, and I'm reading all their stuff, and it's been wonderful to see that. So how do you show up authentically? You just
as a
be
business
as
strategy.
a business strategist. You show who you are, because remember, like anything else, whether you're showing up on Facebook or Instagram, it should be 85%, you know, you, and the rest of it is business, because people are always going to buy into you. You are the brand. How are you going to show up? What kind of conversations do you like to have? What do you like to do? What's your morning routine like? What kind of places are you going to eat,
Yeah.
etc. So just showing a little bit more of that, and your own thoughts. Like, for example, like this morning, I was like, um, what would you rather, foot massage, long foot massage, or sex? That was my question. So it was
What's up, girl? And I'm not
right.
even BSing you right now. A
Mm,
nice foot massage?
yeah. Right. So go and answer my question.
Of course.
So somebody was like, why can't you have both? I'm like, pick one,
Yeah.
but it's good because it promotes interaction, and just that. And then yesterday, for example, I posted what I did during the day, and then what I was going to do for the evening for my workout and all of that. So I'm just posting as I go along, and it reminds me so much of the early days of Twitter, because before I got into Facebook, I was very heavy into Twitter. I was Miss Twitter constantly. 140 characters, that was it. That's all I had to work with, so I had to make it count back in the day. So it's been really, really nice to just kind of exhale and say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do now. And reposting also what other people are doing, what other people are saying, is allowing me to share information in a more authentic way. So if I like something, I'm like, oh, I really like this, let me go ahead and repost. Or if one of the authors that I follow just said something insightful, I'm going to repost that, and I'm going to have a conversation with maybe somebody who was commenting on that person's post. So it's been really amazing. And I would say, like anything else, there's a little bit of hesitation, but if you own a business, you have to be on Threads and you have to be yourself. People will buy into you, the personality first, before they decide to look at your product. Nobody's going to look at your stuff if there's no connection there.
Yeah, people buy people now, not things anymore. We really were oversold during the pandemic, so that's really driving that home. And also, I do want to say, because Tyshawn has a question, I'm going to put it up here too as well, because I'd like to address it, and then I'd like you to also touch on it too, Mary. But what I do love about the whole threading is it does alleviate that. Like, I'll put on her question, because a lot of people do feel intimidated, like more content to put up, to produce, and all that stuff. But I love that you're saying it's just it's one liners, two liners as your day goes by,
Yeah.
right? Really getting to know who you are behind. So even Tyshawn's question, that she updated her marketing strategy to focus more on LinkedIn, and haven't really created content in Instagram. Well, again, the when it comes to Threads, it's not just about what's going on Instagram. It's a whole different beast, I guess, that you don't have to worry about what's been posted on Instagram as much as building up that relationship with your, like, you know, taking that 5 with my daughter to go and jump and stay alive outside, you know, something like that, and then just doing stuff like just touching bases on it. But definitely, just as Mary said, I would highly recommend that you do go on to Threads. It's only 5 days old. It's nothing, again, where you have to go and be on video or pictures. You can just get your feet wet on it, which I absolutely love that you said. And what we also should do, ladies and gents, if you are loving what is being talked about here, this is a live that actually is saved onto on our social media platforms. So let's share the wealth of knowledge, and please share this room, this whole live, because after it's done, you can actually share it over on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitter. Let's get more people understanding how Threads is threading, and let's thread together. And really, when we could do it collectively as a community, we are building up our own marketing and referral base. We don't even know, this is the infancy stages, baby, right? We don't know when our baby's going to start walking, but eventually that baby's going to start walking, and then they'll eventually start running. That time when they're running, it's like, oh, they catch a game. But right now, we're still sitting down. We are still sitting down with this app. So she asked if it would be beneficial for her business. Absolutely. Nothing tried, nothing gained, nothing earned, right? We don't, again, maybe not. But if we say no out the gates, then I guess we just said, then it doesn't. So Mary, I don't know if you want to add on that, but that's a great question, Tyshawn, because a lot of people, again, have that intimidation on a whole new platform. I just mastered this. I'm still working that one. This one's a little bit lighter, which I love, and more authentic to that blind people.
So Tyshawn, you can say, for example, like, I know for LinkedIn, you're probably posting videos and all of that. With this, it's super simple. You can probably just grab your phone and say, today I feel like sharing my 5 tips for whatever it is that you're doing, or this is the strategy that I would have if you own this type of business. And just keep it like that. What I do is I'll make a post, I'll start a thread, and then I will continue on that thread. So right now I have a untangle yourself challenge or something going on that I started a few days ago. And every day I add a little something to that. So people can go by, back and read it. So maybe do that once a day. And then the rest of the day, it's just your whatever you want to post. You don't have to have the idea, for example, to say, okay, today I'm going to make 3 posts or 10 posts or whatever it is. Just go as you please, because we don't want to get stressed out either. You're already creating content for this thing or that thing, and some of that has to be properly captioned. With this, a couple of sentences here and there. You do a 1, 2, and 3, boom, you're done. Maybe later on in the day, you post a photo, and then later on, you're like, I hope that everybody had a great day. Maybe tell me about your day or something. But then there's also that interaction aspect of it, because you can be posting, but if you're not interacting with anybody, chances are you're not going to be discovered. And the cool thing about the app right now is that people don't have to follow you to see your stuff. So they basically opened it up to everyone. But the time is going to come when people are only going to see who they're following. and it's going to be a chronological feed, just like everywhere else. And it's also going to be more, maybe you might see some ads, you might see other people being showcased, for example, like in the Explorer section now that we have on Instagram. You can't scroll now without seeing the Explorer
Yes.
options there, the reels. So just keep that in mind. I believe that now is the best time to make those connections, so that people do end up following you. And when things change, because they're going to change and then they're going to change again and they're going to change again, so now you're going to be kind of like setting yourself up for success.
Yeah. And I love, you know what, you just banged on. I love that Kareen said this. I just posted for the first time and took me back to Facebook 2005. And she's absolutely correct. Remember when Facebook first came out? It was exactly like Threads. You banged it, Kareen.
Yep.
All we did was talk about our day. What was going on. There wasn't, I don't even like, I still have Facebook flashbacks. And funny fact about me, I actually joined Facebook. My anniversary date is February 26, 2007. Why is that so funny? February 25th, 2007. Why is that so funny? Because I went into labor that night and had my firstborn son on the February 26th. And my first post on Facebook was, "Hi, my name is Camille and I'm about to have a baby, but he's supposed to come in on March something, something, something." And then so that was my anniversary. And I remember I just posted like, "Oh, I love my baby boy. Oh, first time mom."
You know why, Camille? And Mosseri said this the other day. With Threads, we want to know what's on your mind. And remember, back in the day, I joined Facebook in 2007 too. And the question was, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
And if I go back to those memories from before, and I'm like, what the heck? This doesn't make any sense. And that's because the question, you were answering the question, what's on your mind? And then that evolved over time. So
yeah, so that's a great point of saying like comparing that Facebook back in the day, because that's exactly what it is. But it also shows us how much changes has happened since the inception of Facebook. So it's bound to happen with Threads. We saw it with Instagram. We've seen it with TikTok. We've seen it with all social platforms, right? Even LinkedIn. Remember, LinkedIn used to be just a digital. I used to call it a digital resume. And it was just a very formal, back in the day when Sears was around, you had your Sears picture for one, but now it's changed. So I love the fact that we're talking about this early on the gate. And I love that we're encouraging each other to come on and try it out. Nothing gained, nothing tried, nothing gained, nothing earned, right? And it is great. And we get into that mindset of, you know what, just got to kiss it, got to keep it simple. Now we have about less than 15 minutes left in this conversation. And I know that a lot of people may have some questions. Please make sure to drop it into the chat. This is your time to talk. And it's a time to engage. This is how we all learn and grow from each other, is by having these open conversations. What have you tried? What is bothering you? What are you loving about this app? Because this is, again, as Mary said, we are right now still sitting down. We're sitting down where this app hasn't taken off yet in terms of its functionalities. Yes, it has in terms of how many people are jumping onto it. But I feel like people are looking for a platform such as this one. We're tired of all of the work that we have to put into certain things. And also, too, we're tired of the BS. We want to know people. Like, I'm going to say it straight. Does your shit stink the same way as mine? Or is yours roses and petals that we're seeing on Instagram all the time? It's always, everything is like, wow. But you know what? I want to hear about, like, you know what? This afro is making me look like Sideshow Bob, and I love working out. And you know what? That does come into wellness, because there's so many women, I'll say it, Black women, that we want to work out, but just like we want to go swimming. But we got to think about this, people. Our hair is heavily affected by sweat and water, right? And that's why I posted that story. I was like, you know what? For Threads, if people want, if I got to keep it real, let me show everyone my realness. Here's my afro. I wanted to keep it out between the heat and working out. It just was, my hair was like, girl, you better wait until the fall. And I showed that transition. So thank you for that too, Mary, for really amplifying to even myself. Let's keep it real. And even when we keep it real through our stories, we're still building, like I'm showing people, I still said a little bit in my workouts. Oh, I feel very basic.
Yeah. And I read something from a marketer that I follow on, and that applies to every social media platform. If you're trying to grow a business and you have a small following from 0 to 1,000 followers, post a lot, engage, and don't sell anything. Don't sell
Mm.
anything. Okay,
We
from
gotta
a
get
thousand, yeah, from 1,000 to 10,000 followers, post a lot, engage a lot, and maybe sell one thing. Maybe try to sell that one thing. But look at the difference, because it's a law of averages too, right? So
Mhm.
if you're trying to do something like that, if you're trying to sell a service and you have like nobody coming into the store, nobody's going to buy.
Mm.
So if you have maybe 100 people in a day come into the store, you might get lucky and you might get 10% of those people buying, or 1%. I don't know.
Mm.
So it really depends on what it is that you're trying to do, and how willing you are to remove your ego from the situation, and
Mm.
how willing you are also to be to grow, to learn, and to see what works, and to fail, and to try new things. Because with this app, we are going to continue to try. We're going to continue to test the waters with different things, with maybe repurposing some content that isn't too long. People don't want to sit there and they don't want to look at your stuff. Another thing too that I've noticed is you are able to share your threads to your Instagram stories
Oh, yes.
very easily. Yeah, you can share easily from threads to Instagram,
Mhm.
your stories, and you can post. But it's not so easy to share from Instagram to threads,
Mm.
right? So if you try to share a video, for example, it's not going to autoplay. It'll just show you a thumbnail and the link. How many people are going to want to click on that? How many people are going to want to look at that stuff, right? So I would just say, just keep it simple, keep it you, keep it authentic. And another thing too that you can do is just continue to repost other people, repost with your thoughts,
Mm.
or you can just repost directly and not write anything in there. Either way, you are providing value, you're providing content that aligns with what it is that you do.
Mhm.
So people can see you as a resource. They're going to say, okay, instead of scouring threads looking for what I need, look at Mary, look at Camille. They just posted what I needed to see.
And
So think of yourself as that type of person too. You're a resource. You're there to help. You're there to serve. You're there to make new connections. You're not there to sell right away. I mean, you can do that somewhere else, but if you want to be successful on any app, just continue to make those genuine connections.
yeah, and you know what? I love that you said that word ego, because this here, and it goes with our whole conversation on authenticity and being intentional with this new app and wellness.
Mhm.
Why I say it all goes hand in hand is that this is going to be a new learning curve for a lot of us, which a new learning curve is a habit readjustment. And we know with habits, it does take time for us to get them readjusted so that they become a part of our subconscious and we're able to do that. Now, why am I adding this into a social platform? Is exactly what Mary said. A lot of people have built up a massive ego because of the followers they've been able to successfully achieve on other platforms, the influencer affiliations that they have been able to snag because of the followers, that their egos may be a lot higher. So to bring it back down to the basics of old school and really being authentic, it's going to be adjustment for some people, but it also is a way for us to humble and start bringing back the authenticity. And not because a lot of us have been, maybe not you, but I could tell you the younger generation is heavily influenced on what they see on Instagram, TikTok, and sometimes it's obscured to them and they start comparing their own lives.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
this year is now bringing back the authenticity back down the homegrown, which I absolutely love. And I want to ask this question because this was something that I heard in the down the grapevine, Mary, is I heard, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, that with threads now, if you see somebody has like 100,000, I was gonna say 100 million, 100,000 followers on Instagram, and then they go on threads and they have 50, is that exposing them to paid followers?
Absolutely.
So the
Yep.
exposure is coming out too.
Yep. Absolutely. Because, like I said before, if you are following and, automatically some of the followers that you have are going to join threads and they're going to see if you're on. And if they're following you and they like you, great. They're going to continue to follow you. If they happen to be following you and they no longer want to follow you, then that's an opportunity for them to not follow you. Right. But then at the same time, you have all of these people that have these crazy followers. But this is how you come to that realization. You go to anybody's huge account and you look at their engagement rate. You don't have to go to a third party app to take a look at that. All you have to do is look at the number of likes that they're getting and also any comments that they're getting.
And
So,
noise. And
what happened?
Yeah, how many times a reel was played.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
have 2
that too.
million and it's only been played for 1,000.
Yeah, so that too, but Reels views have dropped a lot in the last few months, which
Mm.
is why a lot of people are now putting out more and more and more Reels. I don't care. I mean, I'll put out one Reel every 2 or 3 days, maybe now. I'm not married to the situation anymore. I'm connecting a lot more in direct messages on Instagram. I'm connecting a lot more in my stories. I
Mm.
have my broadcast channel. So all of these things, like learning how to use all of this, the different features in the app is going to help you.
Mhm.
But yeah, just take a look at that because it's a telltale sign if they're trying to sell you, for example, a promotion, or if you have an event that you're trying to promote, it'll be like promoted on blah 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 account. And then when you go to the account, huge amount of followers, huge amount of posts,
Yeah.
but nobody's interacting with the posts. So just like anything else, do your due diligence, open your eyes, investigate a little bit. I'm the same way. Like I will always go and I'll see, okay, like who is this person? I'll go check out their Instagram profile and I'll check out their stories. And if it's worth a connection, then I'll connect with them. If not, I just, I
And keep
don't.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this conversation, and I love that we talk about it right out the gates. So I'm just gonna just do a quick summary of some of the points that we talked about, and Mary, you please add on to it because we are winding down this room. But we here in the busy wellness for the busy women in business, we're all about really amplifying the power of mind, body, soul, spirit, and business. Having a whole, what I call infinite eight connection with our overall wellness. And we will be having coming either next week or the following week, we're going to be having a 4-part series. You want to stay tuned. You want to share this out to everybody that you know. Mary and I are working very hard at giving back to this amazing community. A little bit of us so that we can see us all continue to step into our greatness. And the best way to step into our greatness is to understand the power of the relationship of every part of your life: mind, body, soul, spirit, relationship, and business, how it all comes together. So thank you always for rocking with us every Tuesdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, we're going to be having our series coming out very shortly. You'll see it being posted. It's the best way to give back to us is to pay it forward. And let's get more people standing on the mountaintop collectively together, holding hands in hand in hand. That's what we do. That's our jam. And we're all about building up authentic relationships. Now, I love that we talked about this new app called Threads and how important it is to be authentic, to be real, to not be salesy, not to be pitchy. It's to really show who you are behind the scenes. I love the fact that the Threads, what you said about the wellness and, repurposing and not having to have all these videos and stuff. It does reduce the pressure and stresses that we have with maintaining that social media presence. Let's see where that goes. I love that we talked about the authenticity as a business strategy as well as a personal strategy through tips on being authentic through your engagements. Just like you said, Mary, sharing somebody else's post with a little comment on it is a great way to engage with them because, as you said, right now on Threads, everything is open. So this is a great opportunity for you to build that authentic relationship and get that engagement, which I love that we talked about that. And I love that we talked about that whole business, balancing the business and personal growth is all about, having that story, like what I did with my hair or what just the little basic stories that lead up to even whatever we're doing or who we are. And then eventually we can, start doing what we want to do with our business. And I also love that, Mary, you had educated us with, I love that 0 to 1,000 of what to do. Be real after 1,000 to 10,000 or 10,000. I love that you said that because it's huge, a lot of numbers. So let's not get caught up on those numbers. Let's be authentic. And the most important one is the whole using this app with intention. Just as you said, you're posting with intention, getting to know people, building up relationships, but you also have those intentional movements behind it. And when you do it with intention, you're also being more aware of the changes that are going to be ever change. That's the wrong word. The changes that are going to be happening as they build on this platform. So Mary, I'm going to hand the mic over to you, but that's what I got from this. I've learned a lot. I'm excited that I do enjoy it. You know what I'm loving about this is keeping it real. I'm loving that I can say, who else is stuck at cheer at camp today? Right? I like that because
Yeah,
times I'm talking to
exactly.
myself and I want to say this to people, my
Yep.
random rants, and I'm yes, I could do that now.
Yes, it's relatable. You want to be relatable. That's a thing. And when people see this, they're like, "Oh, you struggle too, or you're stuck too, or you're having that guilt over whatever, this or that." People want to relate to you, and then all of a sudden they know you, so
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
connected
you
to
make
you.
spelling errors too? Shoot, so do
Yes.
I.
Oh,
What?
look at all those typos. Oh, she's not perfect. Right. So it's like when people see me eating a burger or having a beer, like you have a beer, you eat. I'm like, I'm human, yes. So people always have this idea of you,
Yeah.
but you're not who they think you are. You are you. So just continue to show yourself. There's only one you. And it's so funny because somebody threaded
Mhm.
that you are celebrate yourself because you are amazing and beautiful. You are one in a billion. And I commented, no, I'm one in a billion. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm even more rare, just like
Yeah.
you, just like everybody else.
Yeah. I love
Uh,
that. I love it.
yeah, but I'm like, I'm unique, just like everybody else. Each one of us is one in 8 billion. I mean, come on. But it kind of like started this whole thing. So just do that. Feel light. Just write about what you want to write about. And like anything else, if you need help, we are here for you. We have more conversations coming regarding this, regarding social media, regarding all the business things that you need, because it can be a lonely road. And sometimes you might feel like you have the question and you might feel, oh, is this going to sound stupid? No, because chances are one of us had the same question. We wouldn't be here without really being open to learning more and open to making new connections. So just know that we are here. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about, reach out to us and definitely join us for the upcoming series that's going to be all about wellness, but in a very practical way. And it's a progressional series. So if you are somebody right now who's feeling a little stuck in certain areas, whether it's your nutrition, your fitness, your mindset, whatever, we're gonna guide you through all of that as well in a way that is not going to add more stress to your life, but the opposite. We want to reduce that. We want to make sure that you are well in your life, your relationship, your business, everything. Yeah.
I love it. I'm super excited about it. We're working hard on this because we know if we have these discussions between ourselves, we're like, everybody must have these in the back of their head, but they don't know how to ask it or they don't even know where to go. So we're bringing it to you all. We're super excited. When I say working hard, it's a fun working hard because we're growing with you all. And this is why we love having these series. I know Mary has some things going on. So Mary, definitely I'm sure the last little bit is I know we're a little bit over, but I want everyone to know where else you can find us. I would like to invite you all to so next Tuesday is my birthday, so I'll be here in the busy wellness for the busy women in business, but also at 10 a.m. I will be doing a free open talk on what I love is what my passion is my voice. So I invite you all to my birthday party next Tuesday, July 18th. I'm going to be a young 42. Yeah, I'm so excited. And I'm going to be coming here at 10 a.m. as well as I'll be back here in this amazing room at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Super excited to get another chance around to jump around around the sun. And now I know every year I'm going around the sun. I get an amazing people like Mary that I get to go around the sun hand in hand with. So Mary, I just
Yeah.
always we love to talk about what assisting, but we also have to speak up on what we're doing and how else we can be found.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, so looking forward to celebrating your birthday next week. That's going to be awesome. And it happens to fall on a Tuesday, so I can be there too at the party. So join us for Camille's birthday celebration next week. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but we will have something important to share that day, I'm sure, something useful. As far as me, you can find me anywhere. I'm all over social media, Mary Massey, Instagram, Facebook, here on LinkedIn. I do have my retreat coming up. I still have room for September. So if that's something that you might want to look into, definitely reach out, ask me questions. We have room. It's going to be all inclusive, amazing, lots of mindset work, and also a lot of fun with
Yeah.
great food and hydration. So just so you know. All right. So that is that. Thank you everybody for being here and for sharing your time with us.
And keep threading. All right. Until next week, when I am going to be 42 young.
My
Have a
gosh.
great one all.
Your baby.
Bye.